Tim Sutton's film Dark Knight basically tells the story about six disparate strangers who are connected by one fateful night where they all go out to a movie and a mass shooting occurs. Now, amongst these strangers is the shooter themselves. So, in a nutshell, you could say that Dark Knight is like a Grand Hotel version of the Aurora, Colorado tragedy, where a gunman, during the opening night screening of Dark Knight Rises, just unleashed hell upon unsuspecting moviegoers, and a night that will not be soon forgotten, was etched in history. That by no means is a spoiler for this film, because that's basically just not necessarily in the words that I use, but that the gist of the story is laid out in the description of the film itself, which is unfortunate because knowing that pretty much robs the film of any suspense of any kind. It's kind of like Bobby, Emilio Estevez's Bobby. You knew that okay, there might be some spoilers for Bobby here. You knew that the characters are coming to this hotel, but to see a speaking engagement for Bobby Kennedy, but you don't know when. And it isn't until the tragic event in history of the night of his assassination that you realize that these people are tied together by the fact that they were in the hotel and in that ballroom when Kennedy was gunned down. And that was a surprising and very powerful moment. But here in Dark Knight, Sutton is not hung up on the tragedy of the shooting. He doesn't even bother to recreate the shooting because it wasn't necessary. But his approach is to tell the story of all these different strangers, and then ultimately tie them together in the end. I'll let you know that these people were all people that were in the theater when this tragedy went down. But the problem with that is that because we already know what the end result is, you kind of feel like let's just get to it, because many of these characters are archetypes of representations of different types of people, American people, of average Joes in America, and the stories that they tell are not entirely 100% super engaging. It gets kind of dull at times because you're thinking it's like you're just basically these people were watching this day in the life of people just as they're going through their emotions, unaware of the events that are going to happen, and the only character of interest that actually that actually draws you in is the shooter themselves, and how their story plays out as you're piecing together. It's like, oh wait, that person's the shooter. I guess one of the interesting things about it is the fact that we don't know right away that one of these people is the shooter, and he kind of lays it out as to the possibilities of who might be the shooter and who will end up ultimately being the victims. So for part of the film, you're wondering just who it might be, and then once you find out who it is, then you get to it once again. You get to the point it's like, okay, let's just get to the end. But you still continue to be. I guess you could say, because you already know, you don't know the fate of these characters, but you know they're going to be inflicted with some sort of tragedy. But it's just that these characters aren't very engaging enough to the point where you can totally empathize with them, except to say it's like, oh well, that stinks, which I guess is a shallow thing to say. I mean, if I were to flip it around and saying this was an actual legitimate account of the Aurora, Colorado shooting, I probably feel differently, because I would imagine they'd be able to base it on actual people and of course change the names. But and it might be interesting because I know these are real people. But the characters in this film are just archetypes that aren't entirely 100% engaging. In the end, it's Dark Knight. I would 2.5, 3 stars, close to 3 stars, I would say. Only because it's like I totally got where he was going, And there were moments that I thought were like really interesting, and I like the arc of the shooter and not knowing who the shooter is until it becomes clear. And and like I said, I got where it was going. It's just that the execution of it did not achieve the level of impact that I think ultimately was hoped for. So I would give three stars to Dark Knight. So if you like this review, hit that like button below. Have you heard about this film, Dark Knight? What are your thoughts as movie fans? What are your thoughts on the Aurora, Colorado tragedy? Should that even be an event that is dramatized in an actual motion picture? Please comment below and let me know. And if you haven't already subscribed to my channel, please do so you can stay on top of my new reviews, retro reviews, trailer reactions, and any of the fun things I put on my channel. And if you have already subscribed to my channel, please be sure to hit that bell button right next to the subscribe button. That way you can be notified whenever I post any new content on my channel, and you won't be left out in the cold. So until next time, my friends, we'll see you at the movies.